Hello everyone, I want to make this video based on a recent discovery that you can still use hard drives to run games, and it's not really a huge deal. Um, so, I have a kind of rudimentary way to film videos. I use my phone, and I don't use capture devices because I don't have an external capture device that is satisfying me, that is good quality. I don't like to edit videos, and using an internal device, an internal software to capture the video would inflict some performance penalty to the system, especially as I work with low head hardware. So this is an i7 6700. It's a 4-core CPU from 2015, and I'm currently running Battlefield 6. I don't have the full game. I'm just running RedSec, and I'm gonna show you how long it takes to load from the hard drive. So I started the video when I click the icon, and I will go through the menu and load the game. And I'm telling you, I play this game, and it's very slow to load even on an SSD. So I didn't really notice any difference using the hard drive, and that's something. Take it as you want. It's actually a sign of bad optimization, but yeah. So here you can see the specifications for the system. Radeon 9070 non-XT and the 6700K at 4.2. So this machine has all-core turbo to 4.2 fixed. This is like all ASUS all-core boost. That's ASUS Sabertooth Z170 board. So there's like a 200 megahertz overclock, but I think back then you could do that even with locked CPUs, like to set an all-core turbo same as the single-core turbo. But I'm not sure 100% about that. I don't really care that much about clocks, but that could be something that makes the performance of the system good, better than the average 4-core from that era. There's like a slight all-core turbo boost. Okay, I don't know if I hate this. Okay, there's a shader verification going on, which I don't know why should happen. So that's not something you would have on every boot, but maybe the game updated itself, very likely. But yeah, didn't took much. And let's get into the game. Let's go to Battle Royale Duo. I have to say that here it is. Here's the difference. So yeah, I already played a couple of games, and I can tell you that you can tell the difference with those kind of load in of textures and assets and geometry. And that is something you can notice, but it takes a couple of seconds. So I don't know whether that makes any difference in actual gameplay. You notice that, but I'm not sure you're gonna like miss any shoot because you don't really see the perfect shape of your enemy, and you just see a blurry, like a grumble mess of polygons for a couple of seconds. Not seconds. Yeah, maybe seconds, maybe 2 seconds. So that's yeah. Here you can see that the same thing happening. I think it's taking a little while to load all the color character. But one thing I can tell you is there's no frame lag ever in this game, even with an hard drive, which is something I actually noticed playing Arc Raiders. In Arc Raiders, the text, the assets, the geometry pop-in also happens with the SSD, but you notice a couple of lags when you move through different areas of the same map with Arc Raiders. I didn't have anything like that with Battlefield, but I did have pop-in of assets. So I think they're just managing the game differently. Arc Raiders probably loads some chunks of the map, but when it does, it loads everything. Well, I wouldn't say that because I actually say that I have pop-in of stuff on Arc Raiders even with the hard drive, with the SSD, even running off a NVMe SSD. So they just build different. Okay, let's see. But you see that this timer here, it's the same with an SSD. So I would say I'm quite confident when I say that there is no difference in loading time, not noticeable, between hard drive and SSD for this game. And I'm telling you, there's no different in gameplay either. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say, I set on 15 frame per second limit on the menu, so that's why everything was so choppy in the menu. I like to save power. So that's a setting I did. That's why everything in the game menus is so choppy. I don't have any popping problem here in the sequence. And yeah, I'm filming the whole video in one shot so that you can see the actual loading times for everything. Okay, I'm not a jump leader, so it's fine. I'm currently running at 120. Oh, the settings. So I'm using a mixture of settings, and the reason is I set some graphical options to medium or even low, as they were hitting the CPU less. Like all the settings where you say when you say high CPU load. Okay, you can see the trees are loading a little bit slower because of the. I'm dead. I'm dead. So 120 FPS. So yeah, you have some small. Yeah, you see now. So there are some trade-offs by going with an hard drive, but they're not major. I wouldn't say they're major. They're just cosmetic. And I would also say, yeah, you can see that now that the trees are loading. No, they aren't. Sorry. So yeah, you have some difference. This game just handles the assets loading differently from Arc Raiders. But again, this is not game breaking. This is not impossible to deal with. And we're running at 80 FPS, 90 FPS now, 90 to 80. Graphics is amazing. Graphic detail is great. We hit 60 at some point, 67 actually was the lowest we got. The GPU is currently at 160, 150. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can see on the top right. Let's check the options, graphical options. FSR balanced. And here you can see effects quality, which I don't really mind. Mesh quality is low. Local light and shadow quality is low. And post-process quality, which I just don't like the way it's done. It's low. So overall, great experience with the hard drive, and in general with this old CPU and DDR4 system. I will now switch again to Arc Raiders after I finish this game. Let's start with Arc Raiders. Let's see how long it takes to load. I'm pretty scared it's gonna load the shaders as well. They do sometimes. I don't know what happened. I just played yesterday, but this game's updated very often. In the meanwhile, I could tell you about how I actually manage this. Basically, there are two factors for hard drive performance. I mean, there's a lot of them, of course, but the two things you can do to improve the hard drive performance that I did are to set the sector size to a bigger than default. Default, I think it's 4 kilobyte, something like that, and I set it to 512 kilobyte, which is the third from the highest you can do. You can do even 2 megabytes or 1 megabyte. I set 500 kilobyte. The lower you go, the less space you take to store small files. Because if you have the way it works is that you have a sector size, and that's the lowest amount of space a single file can take. So if you have a lot of super small files, like 1 kilobyte files, they will still take 512 kilobyte if you have a 512 kilobyte sector size. But if you have very small, very huge files like game loads, game assets, game parts, like files from a game, they will usually be huge in the maybe gigabyte range, and that's not going to affect your total space in any way. But the advantage is that you get faster load times. Smaller files take more to load. It's like the smaller the size of your sectors. And the second thing I did is to disable. Okay, come on. Disable Windows Defender from there. Okay, let's just go and do. Okay, I know. Come on. Come on. Let's see if I can do it for. No, come on. Gotta sell stuff with one hand. Is that enough? Can I do that? Sorry, guys. Gotta sell some stuff before I go. Okay. So I hate how many menus you have to go in games to actually start playing. How many times you have to just skip stuff. And those games are not even the worst examples. Like there are many other games where you have to like press a couple of buttons until just before even reaching the menu, the game menu, for some reason. Well, anyways, this animation basically hides a lot of the loading time in this game. I guess that's the reason they put it there. But I didn't actually notice a huge difference again between the speed and SSD speed. But maybe I was just not paying that much attention to that. Or maybe I'm used to slow computers and PCIe Gen 3 SSDs, 600, 1000 megabyte per second, like cheap SSDs. Maybe that's it. But again, I don't know. It doesn't seem slow to me compared to what I'm usually experiencing. And I did build some high-end system, and I did test some high-end systems, and I wouldn't say I noticed any difference in loading time. There sure is if you take like clock measurements. FPS are in the 80s now. Okay, you can. I try to focus up there. We're in the 80s, and I try to run through the map to get the lag that I'm talking about. I'm not seeing any popping of any asset whatsoever, but maybe I'm not paying enough attention. But yeah, I'm 100% not seeing any kind of popping, nothing similar to what happened in Battlefield. I'm very tired. Okay, here it is. You saw that? I don't know if you saw that, but there was a huge stutter here. A huge, I would mean 1 second. So another one. That's interesting. So I never had two of them the same, like, consequence. I wouldn't say I noticed anyways. But yeah, these stutters are what I was talking about. Sometimes you get them. I wouldn't say I didn't play them much, but I don't think I ever saw them happening during actual combat. I think they're more related to map size and chunks of the map loading. But yeah, at least I caught that on camera. So there is a trade-off even there. I'm not even sure whether this actually doesn't happen on SSDs. You tell me, guys, if you ever experienced something like that in Arc Raiders using an SSD. Because maybe I just didn't care about that. I would care if this happened during fights, but since it never happened, maybe I never noticed, never cared. I'm just seeing them now because I'm looking for that something. Well, anyways, I hope you found this video interesting. Oh, here you see, there was some popping of the map actually. It took like 1 second to properly load the map. There are 2 exit points here. I thought there was only 1. Okay, maybe it's just because the game is losing players, so okay, like, I always enter in the late game. Well, anyways, we're currently running in 120 FPS. So this is also a testament of how good an old CPU can be if you run it with an AMD GPU that doesn't have driver overhead as big as the NVIDIA cards have, at least. Not to mention the Arc Intel GPUs. Okay, I'm gonna die here. Woo! Boom. That was rough. And no stutters here. Like, that would have been a perfect moment for a stutter, but it didn't happen. I just died because I was not taking the proper positioning. And yeah, I guess that's all for the video. Ciao!